What's up everyone, Max Tech Toy Box here, and today we're doing a video comparison between the Fossil Generation 5 smartwatch and the Skagen Falster 3. So as always, we have to kick things off by talking about the price. Both of these are priced at $299. You can get the Fossil Generation 5 now, probably for a little bit cheaper since it's been out for a little bit longer than the Skagen Falster 3. Now we're going to talk about the build quality of both of these devices. They're both going to have a very similar build layout because Fossil is the parent company for a plethora of other Wear OS devices, including Michael Kors, Diesel. There's a partnership with Puma as well. There's just a whole bunch of other companies that fall up under the Fossil branding, including Misfit. So because of that, there's going to be very similar design languages. However, there's some slight differences between the two. So firstly, looking at the Fossil Generation 5, you have that beautiful AMOLED display, that black and gold here on this one that I have here. I love that color combination. On that right-hand side, you have your 3-button layout. That center button is your universal back button, and it also is the button to launch your apps as well. And then you can also use it to scroll through some applications. Then you have your 2 customizable buttons, one up top and one below, and also a microphone on that side as well. Exact same layout on the Skagen Falster 3 on the right-hand side with the 3-button layout and the microphone. I will say that the Skagen Falster 3, the button over here is a little bit more clickier than the Fossil Generation 5, I found. It's more of a true button, at least in my opinion, when clicking them both. Then you're going over to the left-hand side and you have the speaker. Both speakers produce fairly decent audio and you're able to play music from them as well as take and answer phone calls. Audio quality is great. Never really had any complaints at all with anyone on the other end. They couldn't even tell that I was on a smartwatch, let alone a speakerphone or anything like that. They just thought it was a regular phone call. Turning things over, you do have your metallic rings for that wireless charging, and then you have your optically based wrist heart rate monitor. Definitely not the most accurate heart rate monitor on either one of these. I'm pretty sure it's the exact same heart rate monitor that gets traded throughout all Wear OS devices except the Suunto 7. I think that's the only Wear OS device that I reviewed where it was a different one. Well, actually, on the Polar M400 was a different one as well, but that's neither here nor there. And then you do have your industry standard 22mm quick connect and disconnect watch straps. So very, like I said, similar design on the Skagen Falster 3. You do have different sort of brackets, if you will, for your wrist straps, which gives it just a little bit more of a different customizable, or I guess you could say design language, which looks good. You know, it's not for everybody, but I do enjoy it. Okay, so now that we've gotten over build quality, what else is really the main difference between the devices? Well, that's pretty much where it sort of stops. Because both of these devices run Wear OS, everything else internally is the same. You're getting 8 GB of RAM for music on both of these devices. You're getting 1 GB of RAM, which is good. So that means that Wear OS is going to be able to run a lot more fluidly. You're getting the ability to take and answer phone calls on Android. Right now, the Fossil Generation 5, I believe, is the only Wear OS device that can take and answer calls on the Apple iPhone. Okay, I don't think that's brought over to the Skagen Falster 3 as of yet. Also, like I said, you can listen to music through Bluetooth headphones, or you can stream it directly from the watch to the speakerphone. You have the ability to connect Bluetooth heart rate monitors for more accurate sensing during workouts, which is great. These both use Google Fit for daily activity tracking. You're getting that technically 24-hour continuous heart rate monitoring, even though it reads it every 15-minute versus every 1-minute intervals. You can change that to 1-minute intervals by downloading a third-party app called Cardiogram, but just a little Easter egg there. But besides that, these devices do the exact same thing internally. You get your Google Assistant to reply to text messages, to look at emails. You are able to use the Gmail application. The dictation text-to-speech is great because it uses the Google Assistant. Also, you can use the Google Assistant to ask random questions and also do quick math as well on the wrist, which is great. Wear OS in and of itself is a very decent smartwatch operating system. There are some quirks and some little hindrances, but I think most of that has to do with the Snapdragon Wear 3100 chip that both of these devices use. It's a decent chip, but it is dated and it needs to be updated. And part of that is also because it's so power hungry. And so that gets us to the last point between the two is battery. Battery life in both of these devices is also pretty comparable, and that's because of the battery modes. When the Falster Generation 5 was announced, it launched with these specific battery modes, which if you guys watch my Falster Generation 5 review, I touch on, and also touch on in the Skagen Falster 3 review. So battery life is decent, but it's definitely not the best. You're not going to be able to get through a full day if you're working out. If you work out, you're definitely going to have to charge this device at least once a day. And if you try to wear it overnight for sleep tracking, you're going to probably end up charging it 2 times over the course of 24 hours. Now, charging is fairly quick. It charges really quickly with the wireless charger that comes with it, which is great. But, you know, the more time that this stays off your wrist, the less continual activity tracking you're getting. And if you have to always take this device and charge it, then that means that you're just not getting the full usability of the device. You know, a device that's able to stay on your wrist for a little bit longer time is just going to be more usable. Of course, there is a mode so that you can go to just watch only. And with watch only, I think it can stay that way for like a week on both of these devices. But nobody bought these smartwatch devices just so that you could watch or look at the time, you know? So besides that, there's really not much else of a difference between these two. They are both amazing Wear OS smartwatches. Definitely tied for the best Wear OS devices that you can currently buy. It really sort of boils down to preference at this point. And I think that there's something to be said about that. I think that that's sort of the route that Google is, I don't want to say that they're forcing manufacturers to do, but if you're looking at Android and what has happened with the operating system, pretty much it's almost like you just pick your flavor, you know, in terms of what you want from the outside of the device. Most of the Android smartphones that are released have the exact same internals. There's just very specific things that are different. You know, they all have the new Snapdragon processor. They all have close to the same amount of RAM. Now Samsung has gotten a little bit, I guess, RAM heavy with most of their devices and pushing a lot of RAM in those. They all come with fairly large batteries. It's just differences in camera and sort of little one-off features that one device may have that the other one doesn't. And right now with Wear OS, all of the hardware is pretty much the same in the top tier smartwatches. There's nothing different, which, like I said, in these two devices, hardware is exactly the same. Battery size is the same. Only difference is really the casing on the outside, which is good, you know, to some degree, because then it means that no matter which Wear OS device you pick up, you are always getting top-notch specs. You're just sort of picking whichever one that you think looks best. Okay, so this is Max Tech Toy Box signing off. Sort of a quicker video comparison because there really wasn't a whole bunch different between the devices, just because everything is so much similar between the two. If you guys wanted my opinion on which one you should purchase, I really don't know. It's a toss-up. The Falster Gen 5, I just like the design of this a little bit better than the Skagen Falster 3 personally, and that's mainly because of that gold option, just being honest. But the Skagen Falster 3 is very nice as well, and it makes things a little bit more distinct. It definitely stands out a little bit more because of the design of these sort of brackets on the outside. But I will say that those brackets make the watch face look a little bit smaller, even though technically speaking, the watch face is exactly the same size. So this is Max Tech Toy Box signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the video review. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know the thoughts that you guys have on these devices. You guys stay safe, okay? And until you guys see me again, peace.